all of us will be satisfied by being present and praying for this, our dear elder, statesman, and father and mentor to very many. Thank you very much.
Yesterday there was an issue at the dais, and you handled it with a lot of grace. How did you do that?
I think, to be honest, it's what occurred to me at the moment. The Holy Spirit inspires us in moments, but I think much has been said about it. I think it should be the normal thing for all of us. When you have a young man who is a bit maybe deranged, maybe emotionally affected, I think we have to take people as they are, wherever we are. And even if we're in a serious occasion, just have a moment for those who are perhaps less privileged or who are in difficulty. But I don't want to put it like a special thing. I think this what, let's call it, is a Christian, and it should be even the Kenyan thing. So let's not overhype it. It's just a gesture. Yes.
Thank you very much, Archbishop. Asante sana. Archbishop Anthony Muheria. That incident yesterday, he handled it with a lot of grace, and he insists that's how Kenyans ought to treat each other. We continue to await the arrival of the body of the late president, but of course you can hear from the sky, sounds from the sky to be there are people coming in through the sky as they land in Othaya to bury a man who has been described as a gentle giant. President Uhuru Kenyatta, in mourning President Kibaki yesterday, he said that he wanted to describe President Kibaki in three ways. President Kibaki the man, Kibaki the leader, and Kibaki the visionary. And that is who President Mwai Kibaki was, a leader, a man, because he stood for family values, and also a visionary, owing to the fact that, you know, the placement of the Republic of Kenya in terms of infrastructural development, as well as the education sector, in terms of improving access to education through free primary education. And that is part of his biggest legacy. Thika Road, that entire stretch from Museum Hill to Keno, constructed under his watch and part of his legacy. And today, using that road for the very last time, this giant uses that road for the very last time as he comes to Othaya, and the residents of Othaya are out in their numbers to mourn this man. They called their member of parliament, they called Mheshimiwa, they called their father. They are out here to mourn that man, and they have come in their numbers. And probably as you monitor from your screen the convoy, you will notice there are numbers of people who have come out again in their numbers from the roads to at least say goodbye to the third president of the Republic of Kenya, a man you would say has set himself apart as a great man, and a man who was able to achieve much in terms of putting Kenya at par and restoring Kenya's image in the globe, or in the community of nations. And that is who President is. And obviously at some point we saw some of the retired CDS, or the Chief of Defense Forces, then they used to be called Chief of General Staff, or CGS. Those who served under President Mwai Kibaki will also be making their way here. Some of them have already done that, and you can tell it will be a colorful ceremony. But as you have had Bishop Muheria say, there will be not much of, you know, the military operations that we saw in Nyayo, or the honors from the military like we saw in Nyayo yesterday, but there will still be the power bearers, and we will still be handling a lot of protocol here. But mostly today is the church, or is dedicated to church. We'll still continue grabbing a few interviews here and there and coming to you, O'Brien, but for now let me hand the broadcast back to you as we continue to await the arrival of the body of the late President Mwai Kibaki.
Well, thank you, John Jacob Curia there, talking to various people from Karatina approved school, where the public mass is expected to take place, and actually talking there to Muheria and about what kind of a program we expect to see from that place. And of course, yes, Bishop Muheria has just cleared the air that we do not expect to see a lot of military interactions there. It's going purely to be a church affair, giving the locals there an opportunity to mourn and of course see their son. So now it it's clear that the procession is now almost getting to Karatina town, because this is that tough hill before you get to Karatina town, and from Karatina town is about 31 kilometers to Othaya approved school. So you can see plus or minus by around 10 you would expect to see the body and this team, you know, getting to Othaya, approved school, where the mass is expected to start, and it will go all the way up to 3 p.m. and then thereafter from 3 to 4 the interment of the body is expected to take place. So plus or minus 4 p.m. you expect this ceremony to come to a close. We are back in studio here with my team. Professor Mwai Chege, a former advisor on economic as well as policy issues to President Mwai, Kibaki, and Engineer Joshua Tora, former Assistant Minister for Roads, Public Works as well as Housing, giving us a brief history of the man who the nation is bidding farewell today. And of course we also have Victor, who is also my colleague on the other side. Victor, do you have any question to the team?
Probably before I get to ask a question, but you know, this is quite unheard of. We've never seen such before, having that long distance. What happened with the late President Mwai? There was a chopper which took the body, ferried the body all the way from Nairobi to Kabarak, but this one is slightly different because covering that distance from is now 9:30, that is now 2.5 hours on the road. We would have expected to see something quite different, having a military chopper ferrying the body from here, the way it was done with President Mwai, but this is completely different. Even though with all the challenges, the roads are still under construction, but you know, either way, as engineer would say, this was part of his pet project to connect part of the northern corridor, you know, in terms of infrastructure. Engineer, when you look at this and you look at President Mwai Kibaki's policy in terms of economic policy, foreign policy, and now you put it here, perhaps wherever he is, so to speak, he must be so happy with the development that is happening, even though way after his tenure. Engineer.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think wherever he is, and after retirement, when he would know the policy that he put in place and the infrastructure that he conceived was being done.
Yes.
He was a very happy former president. If I may maybe go back to 2 or 3, so that our viewers can understand the thinking of Mwai Kibaki.
Yes.
When he formed his first government, because of the policy and the anticipation that he wanted to excel in infrastructure, he put 2 engineers in the Ministry of Roads, Public Works and Housing. That was Engineer Raila and myself. It was not by mistake. It is because Kibaki really wanted 2 people he can trust to be in charge of his dream in infrastructure.
Yes.
So when we started working with the challenges that we found there, and consulting with the president, his mind was very clear. We were not there in the ministry to fight the former president.
Yes.
Because the former president, infrastructure, most of them had failed, and they were white elephants, as people used to say. But he made it clear to us that we are not there to talk about failed projects. So what did he tell us to do? Those white elephants, can you please, when you are budgeting now,
right,
before you start new projects, can you complete those first?
Yes.
That's why those of you who remember the NYS,
the housing
buildings there, which had been there,
yes,
as white elephant for many years. we started with those ones. We finished them. We never said that pesa ilikuliwa wakati wa Moi. We never talked about that one.
You are focusing on the current government.
Focusing on, because those projects are for Wananchi. He said this project was started for Wananchi. So until they are finished, Wananchi cannot enjoy them. We come to some infrastructure like a road which used to be called Kisii Chemosit Road. It was for a long time, election after election, that is in Kisii. Contractors would be paid during elections, and then after elections, it would be abandoned. So by the time we came to finish that road,
Yes.
the contractor we put on praise was the 5th contractor.
The 5th.
Contractor who did that job.
Working on the same design.
Well, we kept on improving because by then the designs were not being done. It was just a question of eating the money. But you are saying, don't talk about what money has been eaten before. Can you go and do this road? Kisiis are complaining every year that the Kisii Chemosit Road, we do campaign. Can you please do this road? Don't think about what happened. So that one we did. And then when we came to now to actually decide which projects we need to prioritize, we formed what we used to call pending bills verification committee. We put professional engineers and planners and accountants, auditors. We put them in that committee, and they went through all the contracts that were signed and did a verification of what to be paid and what not to be paid. The status of every project, so that we can be able to know where we are and moving forward, so that we can be able to do the budgeting. So those projects that contractors were paid and they had not done anything, the bills, the certificates that were pending there, we could not pay. This is the time that you heard about the cowboy contractors. That term was used. We used term cowboy contractors. But you see contractors, and this is, I like our viewers to get this correct. It is not the contractors who are bad. It is not the engineers who are bad. It is the management. Because those contractors are the ones we used. We never got any other contractors. They are the contractors we used to actualize the dream of Kibaki in infrastructure. The other thing that I think people don't know is Kibaki did not want us to talk about.
Sorry, but I think it is proper to say that now they are entering Karatina town. As you can see, this is now Karatina town. Would you want to confirm that, Professor Chege?
I have to take a quick look.
And find out, because
once you pass the railway line, then
then we're in Karatina.
Have we passed the railway?
Right.
And they have stopped.
I think it's that bump.
It's the bumps again?
Maybe it has.
This is the second incident that they've witnessed
You
so
know,
far.
in the bump, there is a bump there at Karatina which is very, very bad. Maybe it has held the undercarriage of the of the vehicle.
Yeah, because I can see in the background there, that is what we used to call the Karatina cinema. Behind there, a long time ago, before movie theaters became a thing of the past. I know you can relate to that very well. But I think there's a challenge with
a high school somewhere. I think it is the undercarriage which is being affected by this.
Which is having a challenge.
Engineer, there is something quite peculiar here. This is the second time that they're having a stop.
Yes.
And from your engineering perspective, you said that a speed bump should slow you down, not make you stop. This is the second time it's happening.
Yes.
Perhaps on a national television, and talk to the road engineers, your colleagues, people who are taking construction of these roads. This is a clear picture of what is happening out there to the common mwananchi, because you've had many people say, I go to the village and when I come back, I have to change my suspension because of such. What did you tell the road engineers out there?
The road engineers know exactly what they are supposed to do. But when any contractor who comes to pull the bump, you know they are paid on the material used. Yeah?
All right.
The quantity.
Brian, do you get the point?
The quantity. So when the contractors come,
Yes.
the quantity,
You use
the
that's
more
what
they
you paid.
use,
More they are paid.
the more they are
you use,
paid.
the more you are